Welcome back to the channel, my little piglets, the place where we dip our soft, moist snouts into the trough of current affairs and politics. Today, Rishi Sunak has said that we need to be more careful about cancel culture. I can't help but think, little piglets, that most people have told us that cancel culture doesn't exist. Tell that to Graham Linehan. We pick up the story in the Telegraph using my amazing iPhone. I know what you're thinking, pigs don't often know how to use iPhones, but this one bloody well does. James Warrington reports, Britain must fight chilling effects of cancel culture, or so says Rishi Sunak. The UK must tackle the chilling effects of cancel culture amid growing threats to democracy, Rishi Sunak has said. Speaking at the Society of Editors conference in London, the Prime Minister warned against the dangers of shutting down people's views and making people fear speaking out, saying, "That's not who we are, that's not what this country stands for." And I can't but think, Rishi, where the bloody hell have you been in the last 10 years? He added, democracy depends on the ability to air our views, to challenge and interrogate people's standpoints, and to learn from different perspectives and experiences. And if we value a liberal, pluralistic society, we cannot allow on one group of people to say their experiences are more important than others. Mr. Sunak warned that the erosion of free speech was particularly concerning as Britain faces a growing threat from Russia, Iran, North Korea and China. Rishi, there are more people in prison for things they've said on the internet in England than there are in Russia. Just look up Konstantin Kissin's excellent interview a couple of weeks ago. He branded these countries an axis of authoritarian states who are united by their shared antipathy to our values and to our freedoms, and are growing more assertive all the time. The Prime Minister said, it just shows that our values and the principles that this body was founded on are more important than ever. The comments come after the government intervened to block the sale of the Telegraph to an Abu Dhabi-backed investment fund amid concerns over the impact on press freedom. Redbird IMI, which is majority-backed by Manchester City owner Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed, on Tuesday said it had formally abandoned its takeover bid as it admitted the deal was no longer feasible. The problem is, piglets, is that, as we all know, the government spent billions on trying to scare the bejesus out of every piglet who lives in this country only 2 or 3 years ago. I don't really see what the problem is over having Abu Dhabi own the Telegraph at the same time. Well, actually I do, but I just thought I'd make that comparison. You know where I'm coming from, piglets. It will now launch an onward sale process for both the Telegraph and the Spectator. Mr. Sunak also addressed the rapid rise of artificial intelligence in the media industry, which poses a threat to publishers' intellectual property and the accuracy of the news. The Financial Times this week became the first UK news publisher to strike a licensing deal with OpenAI to allow its articles to be used to train ChatGPT. Pretty much one of the most lefty piglet rags out there. Mr. Sunak said, new technology is being used to peddle propaganda and false narratives, disinformation is fomenting division, undermining the truth, and journalists themselves are even becoming the victim of deep fakes. Well, we all know disinformation is a huge problem. Just ask Toby Young. Last week, on an interview with Laura Kuenssberg on the BBC, Chris Packham stupidly stated that all the people who work behind Toby Young's excellent website, The Daily Skeptic, were somehow being funded by the oil industry. Toby Young duly complained to the BBC because they're not regulated by Ofcom and do all their own disciplinary procedures internally, said that Chris Packham, like so many of their top presenters, are not directly employed by the BBC at all and are merely subcontractors. However, it did remove the episode from BBC iPlayer, and not before hundreds of thousands of people saw Chris Packham slur and just took it for being the truth. The Prime Minister insisted that the government was working to ensure that the opportunities of technology are not exploited by the enemies of democracy, pointing to the AI summit held at Bletchley Park last year. I've been to Bletchley Park, it's a bloody good day out, but you do need to be there for a good 10 hours, and by the end of which you'll need to go down to your local trough for a nice pint of sloppy ale. He said, we are meeting this threat head on, ensuring we do so in a way that doesn't hamper freedom of expression, but enhances it. So what do you think about that, my little piggies? Do you think that freedom of oink, or freedom of speech, as the other little piglets would call it, is under threat? And if you do, for how long have you felt like that? And do you think that Rishi and the rest of the government are just paying lip service to it, or are they just late to the party? As ever, oink to your heart's content in the comment section below, pop a loving trotter on the subscribe button, and of course, I'll see you next time. Toodle pip, my little piglets, and remember, trotters up!